Love the way that the zombies are because it was actually kind of like scary. I was like, ooh. Hey, it's So's Real Thoughts. Today I have with me a guest, and we're going to be talking about some of her favorite horror films. So, Zena?
Everybody, and so thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm so excited to talk movies. So you guys can also find me on on YouTube. You can just type in Real Queen of Horror, where I do just like random movie talks on top 10 lists on just random topics, whatever I come up with at the time.
Your name, Real Queen of Horror. I was like, what better person to have on this and talk about horror films than you? Because I feel like your taste and like love of horror is so vast that I'm like, I've never even heard of these like films, and I'm glad. And so this first film that we're going to be talking about is Sugar Hill, and it's the 1974 one. When I was Googling it, I was like, Sugar Hill, and I got a bit like, what, I think a film in the 80s. So I was like,
Yeah.
got the right one. It was available luckily on Shudder, and so I'm gonna give you a little spiel about what it is. When her boyfriend is murdered by gangsters, Sugar Hill decides to not get mad but bad. She entreats voodoo queen Mama Matrice to call on Baron Samedi, the Lord of the Dead, to help with her gruesome revenge. In exchange for Sugar Hill's soul, the Dark Master raises up a zombie army to help her do her bidding. The bad guys who think they got away clean are about to find out that they're dead wrong. First off, why, like when I asked you what is one of your favorite horror films, what was it about this film?
So I was kind of late to watching this one. Usually it's like, because I've been watching horror movies for so long. And I say recently watched this movie, but it was probably like in 2005. No, 2015, 2016, around that time. And I just fell in love with it. First of all, like Sugar, she's just a powerful woman. Like I just want to be her. And then like her wardrobe, like, and
everything,
right?
Like the outfits are like amazing. I don't know, like if it's because we don't dress like that anymore, and so everything's so retro, but it was so stylish, and I really appreciated her sensibility of style while like fighting action.
Right? That's exactly how I like felt when I first watched it, and that's how I still feel, because it was just kind of like, you kind of just went into the movie a little bit blind. At least I did. And sometimes with blaxploitation horror movies or blaxploitation movies in general, it could be a hit or a miss. And this one, I feel like it is a very stylish movie, like all around stylish. You have this woman, she just lost like the love of her life. And so instead of course she wants the police to be able to help her, but she know that she's not going to get justice. So she takes it in her own hands, but knowing that, she can't go out and try to kill these men herself. So she does the unthinkable and voodoo. And it's just like, there's voodoo, there's like silver eyeball zombies, there's like the wardrobe, the music, the action, even like the dialogue, like there's just always something going on. And it just, even when I knew that we were going to talk about this, it gave me a reason to rewatch the movie, and just so delightful. Like,
is
that's
there
just
a
a
particular
weird
scene that you love?
Oh my gosh, I love it when Sugar is fighting with Celeste and she like throws like a bucket of ice with sugar on her, and I'm like, yeah, So I really love that part. And then also like the introduction to like the slave zombies, because seriously, I've never seen silver eyeball zombies, and they were like all bugged and out of control, and there's like cobwebs. It's just, it really is like a great movie. And I feel like at the same time, it's like it has a serious tone, but there's like a little bit of humor in there, So I feel like this is actually like a really great mixture of a like 70s blaxploitation horror.
I was like really glad to see it because it's this like blend of something that is so real, and plus like the supernatural, and like calling on, whether it is just like tapping into the supernaturalness and like your history, and like calling on your people to like really help you during this time, and all while it's really like just fun, just really fun. I just love the costumes. I love the way that the zombies are because it was actually kind of like scary. I was like, ooh. do you feel like this film influenced any other films from now?
Not so much now. At least I haven't really seen anything like that. I know, like, when I first saw it, I think I would always hear people saying how, like, oh, this movie, they were trying to make her like Foxy Brown. And I mean, maybe they were, but like you said, there is a supernatural element to it that, you know, you don't really always see all the time. What about you? What do you think?
I don't know if I've ever really seen anything like this blend. I think the closest thing when you think of just calling up on the dead is Pet Sematary. Yeah, Pet Cemetery. And other than that, like, I really just liked just the fact that she was able to team up with the undead to bring justice, because it's like, who else really are you gonna call? And like, for her to sacrifice her soul is such a big exchange. And even at the end, I don't know, spoiler alert, but even at the end, like, it felt so satisfying, because even though I was like, oh, how's she gonna, like, she's really gonna exchange her soul, it didn't, like, obviously it didn't show like that far, but it felt just like mission accomplished. This is what was able to happen, and every part of it was so satisfactory. And I loved that everybody's death kind of was so different and very inventive, and it's not like exactly the same. And so I really like those aspects, that it was never felt really boring or repetitive and things like that.
Right. But each death, kind of like what you said, was just like a, ooh, ow, you know, kind of thing. Like, I actually really felt bad for, I forgot the guy's name, but the spoiler, the guy who basically, he came to, he stopped by Sugar's house to deliver the money. And and then they threw him in a box with the snakes and with the money, like, you keep it, like, you know, like, that was just, like, to me, horrifying, even though he felt like he didn't have anything to do with it, but, you know.
Okay, if we're gonna talk about spoilers, okay, we're gonna go there. I guess the one scene, as I recall, there's one scene where, because it was voodoo, they, like, the victim had to, like, kill himself.
Oh, yeah.
When those things happen, when it's like by your own hand, it's like so scary because you can't really fight it. And
True.
Now that I think about it, I mean, I think there's so many voodoo type of films, I just can't recall them. But I know there's a lot, and I'm sure that they took kind of this inspiration from this. And I just thought it was really refreshing, even though it is like from the 70s. It never felt like old or kind of outdated in a lot of ways. Like, everything still felt very fresh, and I was like, wow, this is a concept I haven't really seen done before, which is surprising by now because everything's been remade.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. And it's like, even with that, it's like kind of what we were saying earlier, how there's just so many. Okay, we haven't seen a movie like this before, because it's kind of like, it is a Blaxploitation, but it's also a horror, but it's also, you know, an action movie, but there's also zombies, and then there's voodoo, and, you know, there's a little love in there. So it's just like, whoa, there's something in there, I feel, for like everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
And did you have like a favorite character?
No, I mean, I really like the main character, Sugar. I mean, she had such conviction. Her style was amazing. I could really feel her loss and everything that she's going through, because there's that other guy who is the policeman, and he wants to help her somehow. But I just really like that she's just stood her ground and like never leaned in to him for help or things like that, or never revealed like what was her true plan, and just like kept it really cool and stuck with what she was doing, and like till the very end. I just really like that, because I always feel like when there's a cop involved, and like obviously you don't want to trust him, because it's like the whole premise of this film is the fact that like the cops aren't going to do anything, so she really has to take it, you know, upon herself to make things happen. Right. And I just she was just so cool. I realized that she was I was looking at her IMDb, and she was also in like Starsky and Hutch, and
Yeah.
I think one part in Charlie's Angels. So I was like, that's amazing. Like, I'm glad that she was part of the 70s and was like a big, I guess, player in it, for sure.
Same. And you're right. Like when I was thinking about that, like the other characters, they're really great, and I feel like they have like a great cast. But there's just something about that main woman, with Sugar. She's just great, like an all around. Like you feel her pain, you understand what she's going through, and I do love the fact that she did not tell like the cop, even though they have like a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, I know that he would understand, but he's a cop. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like you can't really tell him. And plus, it's just like, he was starting to feel like he was getting a little crazy, not too sure if this stuff was true or not. So I think I love the fact that she did not involve him and she just took care of it. And it just seemed like, I'm like, normally like when a movie ends and it's just like, okay, well, what happens? She didn't give her soul away. So what happens? Are they together? What happens? But honestly, with this movie, it was just a very satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, she did what she needed to do. From here on out, I'm pretty sure that her life just went back to what she's been doing, where she's just working, and maybe she started a relationship with the guy.
Yeah, I was thinking because like she says she's gonna sell her soul to them or like have her soul be exchanged in part of their service, but like it never really went there. So I was like, does anything else happen? Like, is she really going back to her normal life? But regardless, I was like, I don't really care. Like, I'm glad that the mission is done and that she really got the justice that she was seeking. And yeah, it was very satisfactory on all levels.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you watched it.
Yeah, it's available on Shudder for those that you guys should watch it. I'm glad that the thing about Shudder, which is such like a promo thing, but like the thing about Shudder is that they have so many great films that I'm so glad that this was even available, because I don't know if you can find this kind of film anywhere else. Shudder's really like the go-to spot. So thank you, Shudder. Thank you, Zena, for this wonderful talk. Be sure to subscribe to her YouTube channel, The Real Queen of Horror. Like, truly, what a name that I will link all her information down below and on the screen. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Cool.
That was fun.
Yeah.